Okay, this is Jonathan Dupree. This is How to Recruit Realtors. We're on our third session, our third week. We're going to be focusing on how to leverage LinkedIn to recruit agents. And this is, I got to tell you guys, probably the number one tool that I use every day to get in dialogue with producing agents all over the country. So it's going to be a great session. I'm going to give you a lot of tools. I'm going to tell you how to use them. I'm going to give you the exact scripts, exactly how to set up your profile. But before we dive into the course, I'd like to just kind of check in with you guys. I'd love to get some positive feedback on things that are happening in your business. I'll tell you about the things I put in the chat box in just a minute. And then I'm going to share some of the ways that I utilize those tools through LinkedIn and some other ways that I get them in the hands of agents as well. But I've heard a lot of success stories from people over the last week. People have reached out to me and said, "Hey, I did this, and as a result of that, I set 3 appointments, and it's more appointments than I've had in a long time." And or I made this call to this agent who I co-opted deal with and used this script, and as a result, I got an appointment. So I'd love to just take a couple of minutes and check in and hear some positive
I'm good, Jonathan. Can
wins
you
that
hear me?
you've had. Who wants to kick us off this
Sounds
morning?
great.
And
So
remember, you'll have
I
to
went to an
unmute yourself
event
because I got
and
everybody muted.
started talking to everybody. I wasn't going to go to the event originally,
Yeah, go for
but
it,
I said, you
John.
know what? In light of what we learned last week on Jonathan's seminar, I said, let's just go to this event anyway. So I made the extra effort, went there. I'm glad that I did. Met a bunch of people, and I used a few of the scripts that were mentioned. And one that I found was real interesting, where I have an interesting appointment set up, was one that I said, well, okay, well, is there anybody in your company that isn't happy and might consider an opportunity? And that kind of opened the doors to an interesting dialogue. At the end of the day, this woman is very interested to discuss the opportunity with me. So I thought that was great. Just executing on some of the things, going to the actual event, you have to be there, and then using some of the scripts to get them to the next level.
Yeah. And I love that you use that script. And I got to tell you, there's so many people who say that script will not work, and it does all the time. And what's really funny is you'll find one of two things: they'll give you some referrals, they'll give you some agents who are unhappy at their firm, or they'll go, if you say, "Hey, I know you're probably happy where you are, but who at your brokerage right now can you think of that's maybe unhappy or potentially thinking about making a move, or you feel
Great,
like
thank
you'd
you.
maybe thrive in a different brokerage?" And sometimes they'll say, "Well, why are you assuming I don't want to talk with you?" So it's kind of it's like almost a takeaway close in itself. That's awesome, John. I loved when you sent me that message. I thought that was fantastic. Yep. Who else wants to share real quick this morning? Going once, going twice. Okay, well, if you have something you want to share with the group before we, or any time in the course, just interrupt me. That won't blah, 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 blah. It will not bother me at all. I want to tell you the things I put there in the chat before I share the screen here. The first is I gave you a link to a book I wrote called The Mega Agent Mindset. And you can get the physical book on Amazon. But one of the tools I use, on LinkedIn, I give away a lot of free gifts. And you're going to hear that today. And that is one of the tools that I use to give away. And in the last 2 sessions, everybody said, "Can we use that book?" And I said, "I don't mind at all. You're more than welcome to go for it." So if you want to utilize that as one of your tools, just save that link, and you can put it in your message. It doesn't connect to a website or anything like that for me to get access to your leads. It simply gives them a free copy, a PDF version of my book. The second thing I put in there was another free gift that I give away called Top Mistakes New Agents Make. And this is just a sheet. I shared it actually last night in Real Estate 101. So if you were in there, You can get it that way. You can click on the link that I posted, or if you want to try, I use a text system that is just a great lead generation tool. And if you want to see how it works, then you can text the word mistakes to 31996. So I just put it in the chat there. Text mistakes, plural, mistakes, and text it to the number 31996. And the tool that I use is called Slick Text, and it will then send you the message that
Jonathan?
agents get, and that is
Sorry
one
to
of the ways.
interrupt,
In
but you're
fact, if you
saying
go on my LinkedIn profile
31996 and you
today,
typed
you'll even see a picture
31966. I just
that
want
I
to be
put
sure.
on there that says, get my free report or something like that.
I do the
top
same thing when I'm
15
mixing up numbers.
mistakes new agents make, so you avoid them, and then it just tells them what to do to text mistakes to 31996, and you can see how that works. Also, I've uploaded the 3 must-have. Yep. Oh, yeah, thank you for saying that. That's I'm not a great typer. It's 31996. Yeah, 31996 is the correct one, and then you want to text the word mistakes, and that will get you there. And then another one of the free gifts I use a lot are the 3 must-have scripts. And a good friend of mine, Peter Purcelli Jr., wrote a book called The Politically Incorrect Real Estate Agent Handbook. It's the longest title of a book I've ever read in my life. But if you haven't read the book, it is hands down I think that his book is the best book in real estate, for, like, if you just want great reference points. Julie Nelson, who's on here, has a phenomenal book too called Success Faster. And I think the two of those combined together really help an agent. If you're recruiting agents and are looking for 2 resources to put in their hands to help them get productive, her book combined with her workbook and Peter's book are like hand in hand. This one is not like, it's just little nuggets all throughout the book. But he shares these scripts, and these are scripts I've been using for years. And so it's one of my free gifts. So you're more than welcome to take this and utilize this and put your own name at the top and use it as one of your free gifts on LinkedIn. Yes. No, I didn't. I just showed the book. But you'll see it shared on the screen. You'll see the 3 must-have scripts that you need to learn. You should see that on the screen right now, and it's in the Facebook group. So if you go to the Facebook group and you go to the download section, you'll see the 3 must-have scripts, and it's right there for you to download and use. And in a minute, I'm going to share with you exactly how you're using these tools. I just want to tell you what they are. Oh, thank you for correcting me on the right book, the name of his book. But it is the best, I think, best book in real estate. I think it's honestly better than MREA, and it's that good of a book. So real quick before we dive into LinkedIn, I want to just go through, we talked a little bit about the recruiting process. We talked about the 5 core fundamentals. You have access to that in the file section to that report that I did on the 5 core fundamentals. Last week we talked about our recruiting sources, and I just want you to think through this recruiting process for a second. And the goal is attract, train, retain, empower, and inspire. Like, this is the process. You're attracting agents. You're constantly looking to get in dialogue with agents, whether you're initiating the contact or you're doing little things like you're fishing. You're just throwing them out. So this morning I went fishing. I posted this video on Facebook. You can go to my Facebook and see. And it was amazing because it was like this. If you fish at all, you'll know what I'm talking about. And rarely do you see it with largemouth bass. but there was a feeding frenzy going on. It had rained here. I was fishing in this lake where there was this dam, and the water went from the upper lake into the lower lake, and it was flowing over the dam. And all of these shad or minnows or bait fish were flying. They were just falling over the dam. The birds were there, the bass were there, the snakes were there. Like everything was at that dam eating those fish. Those bait fish. And so all I had to do was like just throw my bait somewhere in the vicinity and just drag it along. I didn't even have to be tactful or skillful. I just had to throw it out there and reel it in, and they were all around. And then sometimes I go and it's really difficult, and you got to be strategic, and you have to have the right presentation, but you're constantly throwing out that bait, and you're just waiting for that right fish to nail it, and that's what you're doing on LinkedIn. So you're attracting agents through all of these avenues, and you're just putting yourself in front of them, and hoping that you have the opportunity to present. And sometimes you're presenting to them without even realizing you're presenting to them, and they take the bait. And then once you attract an agent, you're training them. Now, you don't have to be the one doing the physical training. Leverage the tools and resources your brokerage provides to do the training for you, so that you're not the one, that you don't want the agents you're attracting to become dependent upon you, because if they're dependent upon you, you're never going to really grow. And then the goal is retain. Well, if you're driving those agents to the right classes and getting them educated and getting them into production, putting the right tools like Julie's book, Success Faster, in their hands, then what's going to end up happening is they become successful, they have some closings, you're going to retain that agent. Your retention level is going to be a lot higher if you get your agents producing and learning the business and becoming successful. And at the end of the day, it's all about empowering them. My mission statement is to master my life, my relationships, and my career to such a degree that I can't help but to attract those around me, and empower those around me, and attract those who seek the same. And so the goal in this is, when you're all the time, you'll see in the middle it says inspire. When you're inspiring people through your words, your actions, you're encouraging them, you're pouring into them, you're training, well, you're naturally attracting them, you're naturally retaining them, and you're empowering them to go out and go build their business. And at the end of the day, you really want to develop leaders, because when you develop leaders, that's where you have this quantum leap growth happen in your business, or this exponential growth. Now you go, okay, well, that's all great, but what are the real steps? Like, what does it really take? These are 5 quick things I think is important for you to focus on this week. Number 1, practice scripts. You have got to practice scripts. You just heard John, and he's a veteran in the industry, and he says, here's an event. I wasn't going to go to it, but I decided, you know what? I'm in this recruiting class. I'm going to go to the event, and you know what? I'm going to try this new script I learned. And he set like 3 appointments, got 3 referrals from using that one script at that one event. So practice your scripts so that you can just say them in your sleep. It's like it comes natural for you. Download the scripts and print them out if you haven't. And again, they're in the file section of the Facebook group. The second thing that you need to do is lead generate for agents every single day. This is the lifeblood of your business if you want to grow any type of organization. And it's easy to find them. You're going to see today just how easy it is. The third thing is to follow up with the agents that you're talking to. This is where most of the people mess up. Most people don't follow up. They think that recruiting is an event and it's not a process. And the reality is, it's not an event, it is a process. And part of that process is follow up. If you're not following up on a consistent basis, you're going to miss those opportunities. I'm going to go back to fishing. It's like I throw out, and I have this saying, and my wife hates it, and people who fish with me hate it. It's one more cast, one more cast, one more cast. And I can't tell you how many times I've been fishing and I'm like, I'm leaving right after this cast. And I probably say that like 30 times. One more. I know that was going to be the last one, but this spot looks really good. Let me just try this one real quick. One more cast, and then we can go. My kids hate it. My boys, when they go fishing with me, that's probably why they don't go much anymore. And it's because they just don't like that. But that's following up. You've got to constantly, one more call. Let me follow up with them one more time. They told me no last time, but let me reach out one more time and see where they're at mentally, what's going on, where their business is, what their challenges are. Has anything shifted or changed in their business? That's the follow-up process. And that's why you want to have your CRM, because you want to be able to schedule those follow-ups, whether it's a call, a note card, a message on Facebook, a text message, but you need to be following up with the people that you're talking to. And then number 4 is appointments. Appointments drive everything. Appointments drive everything. If you have lots of appointments, you're going to attract lots of agents. Bottom line. Whoever goes on the most listing appointments is most likely going to get the most listings. Whoever does the most buyer consultations is most likely going to write the most purchase agreements. Whoever goes on the most appointments for agents is going to end up recruiting, attracting the most agents. So your ultimate goal is, let me set as many appointments as I can to get to the presentation. Whether it's you delivering that presentation, inviting them to a lunch and learn, a webinar, a video to watch, a one-on-one coffee meeting, a one-on-one phone call where you meet over the computer over Zoom, which, by the way, if you're not using Zoom, it's free for you to use for up to 45 minutes. So you can use this platform for free and set up your own account, and you can have these presentations with folks, and it's easy to meet one-on-one, and you can walk them through stuff, and you don't have to be right there. And then close. And a lot of times we forget the follow-up. We forget that the goal is to set an appointment. The goal of the phone call is to set an appointment. It's always the goal of a message is to set an appointment. The goal of what we're going to do on LinkedIn is to set an appointment. And then at the appointment, the goal is to close. And a lot of times we forget about closing. And let me read the chat real quick because I see some messages coming through. I want to make sure I don't miss anything. I think you'll know the people that you're following up with when you get to the point that you're annoying them. In the beginning, if I have someone who I feel is hot, like if I feel like they would make a transition in the next 30 days, then I'm weekly. Hey, what's going on? Where are we at in a transition plan? What does that look like? What information do you need to know to make an educated decision? I always say this to someone like that. I say this on every presentation. So I know that, and this is exactly how I say it. So John, listen, this is going to sound like a loaded question because it is, but on a scale of 1 to 10, like 10 meaning I'm in, I'm ready to transfer my license. I see it, I get it, I want to be a part. 1 being, hey Jonathan, I appreciate you meeting me here. Please shut up and stop talking. Where would you rate your interest level? And they tell me, and they usually say somewhere like a 6 or a 7, and I'll say, okay, well, what information can I give to you that would help you become maybe an 8 or a 9 or even possibly a 10? So that question lets me gauge where they're at and what their interest level is. And if I feel like they're long term, I'm usually touching base on a monthly basis with them. And then there are some people who it's every 60 to 90 days that I'm reaching out to them. But a lot of my folks I follow up with every single month and just touch up base. It's not always the same call. I'll call and go, hey, how are things going in your world? I was just thinking about you. You're on my mind. Then there was someone who I reached out to the other day, and they've been to 4 or 5 classes in the last week and a half because I gave them a guest pass, and they weren't even on the radar. I've been talking to him every month for a year, and then I stopped talking to him for about 3 months, and then I reached back out to him the other day and said, "Hey, you came across my mind, man. I was just thinking of you. We hadn't talked in a few months. I just want to see how things were." And from that conversation, something just clicked, and they said, I'm kind of open minded, and I really don't even know what it is, but I wasn't before. But you have to follow up. So practice scripts. Here's why you want to do this. You want to be the most prepared person in the conversation. And the only way you can do that is to master the scripts and the dialogue. This is what drives everything. It's the foundation of the conversation, whether it's a verbal conversation or typed conversation. It is or a drip campaign that you're sending out is still that there's still a script there. And if you're doing a webinar, there's a script there. And it's important for you to master scripts and dialogue. So partner up with somebody, role play your scripts, role play doing appointments, role play doing a needs analysis, role play handling the objections. And what you'll notice is the professionals know what to say and how to say it, and they use different words and phrases than amateurs do. Amateurs always focus on the features and benefits of the company, where professionals focus on providing solutions to that prospect's challenges in their business. So master the scripts and dialogue. You're the common denominator in every single presentation. But the great thing is you can learn what to say and how to say it, and you can change the things that you're saying right now that aren't working. The second thing is lead generate for appointments with agents. You have to come to an objective reality. Last night, I also shared Jack Welch's 6 steps to, I don't remember how he said it, like 6 rules. I think that's what it was. And it was face reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. Well, that's the objective reality. You've got to have this objective reality of where you really are in your business. And great recruiting begins with having plenty of leads. And it's easy to lead generate for agents. So the more leads and interviews with agents you have, the more opportunities you're going to have to practice your agent interview, your recruiting process, the scripts, overcoming objections, driving them to webinars or lunch and learns or videos, and following up with 3-way calls. You're going to be able to learn all this because you're implementing, you're doing. And this helps you to begin to master the process. And then your conversion ratios will begin to improve because you're practicing. But you also have to know it's a numbers game. And all your problems can go away with recruiting. 90 days, everything can change for you in 90 days. You can go on what I call a 90-day madman cycle, where you just hit it hard for 90 days, put the blinders on, don't look up, and your problems can disappear. You can build your business faster. You can make more money quicker in 90 days just by hitting hard. Come up, take a breath, hit it hard for another 90 days. And you act with this sense of urgency. You're really intentional. And what you're doing is you're collapsing time frames, and you're becoming laser focused and getting in dialogue with a lot of agents. But you have to know your numbers. What gets measured gets improved. I know, for example, for every 15 phone calls on average, this is my numbers, I will talk to 5 agents. I will set 4 appointments, and 1 or 2 of those agents will join. So for every 75 phone calls that I make, I'm going to recruit 5 agents. It's a numbers game. I know it because I've been doing it a while, and I've been tracking my number. And they used to not be that good. It used to be like, I might make 15 phone calls and talk to 5 agents and maybe set 1 appointment in the beginning. Because I was learning, I was improving my skill sets. But you need to track your calls, your conversations, your appointments, and then agents that are joining. And you have to be able to track it so that you can know. If you see, I'm making a lot of calls, I'm having tons of conversations, but I'm not making any appointments, then something is happening in that gap between conversations and appointments. Or you're having lots of appointments, but no one's joining. Maybe there's a breakdown in the follow-up process or what you're doing after the appointment that you need to look at and you need to tweak and change. But if you're not tracking, you don't know that, and you can't make the necessary changes or adjustments. And then your daily activities have to be done. I mean, it has to be done. So every morning, practice scripts for 15 minutes with a scripts partner. You don't have to meet face to face. You can do it over the telephone. Take 30 minutes to prep your list of agents you're going to be calling. Do a little research. Hop on LinkedIn. Check them out. Then you want a time block to actually make the calls. So take 30 minutes on the back end to do what I call database maintenance. This is where you're updating your notes, scheduling follow-up calls, follow-up tasks such as writing note cards or sending emails, adding to a drip campaign. Then go about your regular real estate life. So if you just blocked off an hour to an hour and a half a day to focus on agent attraction, recruiting agents, then you would begin to see some results. The problem is we just sporadically try things for a week or two or maybe a month. We don't see the results we desire, and so we stop doing it. I give you some tips for making some calls. You can read this. It's in your manuscript. But one of the main things is make sure your systems are in place. I personally use Contactually for my CRM. It doesn't matter. That's not the magic one that if you use it, you're going to be awesome. It's whatever CRM you use is the best one for you. I use BombBomb and MailChimp for my drip campaigns. MailChimp is free. Doesn't cost anything. BombBomb allows me to create video campaigns, and both of those integrate with Contactually. And then I use Lead Pages to generate landing pages, and I'll post a link if you guys want a free trial to Lead Pages. I'll post it in the Facebook group. I don't have it here handy right now, but it's what I use to create landing pages. Broker Metrics is a tool that's local, is specific to your MLS market, and it gives you a lot of data. And there may be something else in your market outside of Broker Metrics, but it lets you know who's moving offices, production, whose production's decreasing, whose production's increasing. And then you can have calls based around real data for an agent's business. So you can call them and go, hey, I just want to give you a quick call and say congratulations. I see that your business is up 200% this year from where it was at this time last year, and I just want to say congratulations. They probably don't even know that, and their own broker isn't calling to congratulate them. So that's a tool that I use. And then get a good headset. I use the one, it's a Blue Parrot is the one that I use. And why is it a valuable tool? I'll tell you. There's just something about when you're listening to someone and you hear tons of background noise going on. When you have a good headset, this is my Blue Parrot, and I put a link in there. So if you open up the actual PDF file, you can click that link. It takes you right to Amazon. But this microphone is a noise canceling microphone. That doesn't mean it cancels out the noise for me, like what I'm hearing. It cancels out the noise of what you would hear. So if I were in a coffee shop and I was making phone calls, you're not going to hear the blender going making frappuccinos and all the people talking. It's going to sound like I'm still in my office on a really good microphone, and that's important when you're on the phone. So yeah, if you don't think it's necessary, then it's not necessary. It's that's the way I would look at it. If you feel like, hey, I don't need a headset, that's okay. I'm just telling you, I think a good headset's important to have, especially if you're doing any traveling. I travel a lot. I'm in my car on the phone. I'm in coffee shops on the phone. I'm teaching classes. I have agents that I'm recruiting that are in those classes, and I want to sound good on the microphone. And then KV Core, KV Core builds great landing pages, and you don't need Contactually. KV Core, though, is not going to integrate with a bunch of other things, but it does a lot on its own. Again, you need to be tracking your contacts, appointments made, appointments held, and the number of agents that join. A few tips in setting appointments. Overcome your fear of the phone. It's your friend. Don't be afraid of the telephone. I built some great connections through the telephone. Learn how to overcome objections. You know, people are going to tell you, this goes back to scripts, I'm happy where I am. I always respond to that. That's awesome. I assumed you were happy. That's why I called. I love happy people. And then I go into, I want to give you specific ideas and strategies that are helping people grow their business. Let me tell you about Brian. He's a new agent. He's been licensed for a month, and he generated 40 leads in 36 hours with names, emails, and phone numbers using one tool our brokerage provided. So why don't we connect? I'm too busy. I'm not interested. And so I just give you some responses. I would expect a successful agent like yourself is busy. However, if the ideas and strategies that I share add an extra $50,000 to your pocket and give you more time and freedom, wouldn't it be worth 45 minutes of your time? I'm not interested. I hear you when you say you're not interested, or you're not interested in growing your business, or you're not interested in learning new strategies to help you in a shifting market. If I could show you some proven models and systems to dramatically increase your production, wouldn't you want to learn more? So you want to use scripts to create interest and curiosity as well. And this is a script that my recruiting coach gave to me years ago, where I just would simply call agents and say, I'm calling a few great agents in our area who are interested in taking their business to the next level. Have you heard about our training and classes offered at EXP? Thanks to the education we provide. Let me tell you about Jessica. She was an agent of ours. She got 7 offers. This is true, by the way. This is an agent of ours. She got 7 offers in 3 days on her new listings when she made the transition over to our brokerage using tools that we have. Brian, I already shared that one with you. So what I'd love to do is just set up a time to chat for 30 minutes, and I'll share with you the ideas and strategies I'm using to help agents make more money. And I'd love for you to watch this video before we meet, so I'm going to text it to you as soon as we get off the phone. Sound good? And that's my tie down. So it's really important to learn the scripts, to master the scripts, and then the closes. Sounds like we should meet. Can we meet today? Let's get together this week. I really enjoyed chatting with you, and I have to be honest, I'm really not sure if I can help you or not, but I'd be open to meeting and finding out. How's that sound? That's a really good one I use a lot, and it's kind of a low resistance, high impact script, because it's almost like got the takeaway close where you're going, I'm not really sure that I can meet with you and help you. I'm not really sure I can help you. However, I would be willing to meet with you to find out and see if I could help. How's that sound? Yes, I have them watch the model explained before I meet with them, Sylvia. And that's just the modelexplained.com takes them to a Brent Gove video. If I'm talking to them, I might say something like, I think it would make sense for us to meet in the next day or so and kick around some ideas. Wouldn't you? Or what works better for you? We could meet today at 9, or I can meet you Tuesday at 1. So those are just some sample closes that you want to begin to have the handful. You don't need to master all these. You need to have 2 or 3 really good closes in your pocket that you use, and you want to have your key scripts that you use. And then follow up. This is what's going to separate the pros from the amateurs. You have to have a system in place to make sure that you follow up with all the prospects you've been talking to, especially if every week you're adding new people to the pipeline. You're going to forget to follow up with them. And your CRM, whichever CRM you're using, you want to make sure that it can make notes about the contacts, schedule phone calls, schedule tasks, create campaigns, drip on prospects. You can access it from a mobile app. You can create groups or tag your contacts. And I tag mine, my top 10 recruiting sources, state and city, hit list. That just means my top hot prospects that I want. 1 to 3 million in production, 3 to 6 million, 6 to 10 million, and then mega agent is above that. And then I break them down by team, independent broker owner, or influencer. Those are my other tags. This is one of your first priorities. If you haven't already begun to build your database, you have to do it. And this is why. Bottom line is right here. You're a hunter and gatherer. You kill your own food. So the number one job in recruiting is growth. It drives everything else in your business. And so every day you have to make sure you're filling your pipeline with leads, warm leads, allied resources leads, top recruiting sources, all the things we spoke about last week, and maximize
You're sounding
your
good here,
return
Jonathan.
by prioritizing your time and disciplining yourself to take consistent, intentional action daily.
Nope, you
And
said you're
that's
coming
what
across
database
loud and clear.
does. A CRM,
Great.
a CRM,
That
when
was
you really
right.
start using it, it just simply helps you stay focused and become more
The sound
efficient.
the sound
So
is
every
clear, but
day,
it's the
time
distorted
block
voice again.
to lead generate for agents. Remember, 30 minutes on the front end to
I don't know.
I'm not
practice,
hearing that,
30
Noah.
minutes on
It's
the
coming
back
across
end for
crystal
database
clear on my
maintenance,
end.
and then an hour in between.
I can hear you
Yeah.
just fine.
calls.
No, you can
Be
hear
a
him fine.
tractor. Build and maintain your database daily. Know your market, your industry, and information about the agent you're in dialogue with. And please know your brokerage systems, tools, models, compensation plans, and resources inside and out so that when you're talking to an agent, you can truly help them structure their business. If you're talking to someone who has a real estate team and you are at a brokerage where you have one nationwide cap, and you bring up the question, have you ever considered expanding your team into other markets? Well, you want to make sure they're going to say yes to that. You want to be able to help them structure that, and you want to have the conversation. Well, let me share with you the power behind having one cap and how you can expand across the country and into Canada and soon into other countries, and how you can leverage that and truly build a team. And let's talk about some of the best ways that you can structure this so that you can really attract great talent to your team all over the place. So by understanding your models and compensation plan and tools and resources that the agents will have, it's just going to set you apart. So I thought it's really important to share that before we dive into LinkedIn, for you to know that process again. Okay, so let's dive into LinkedIn, how to leverage LinkedIn. And if you're not familiar with LinkedIn, which I'm sure most of you are, it is a business networking social media site. It's kind of like Facebook, but for business professionals. And there's just something about LinkedIn that sets it apart from Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or TikTok or all the things that are out there. And here's the deal. The difference between 10 professional agents in your organization and 10 non-professional agents in your organization is success. That's the difference. That's what it is. And if you have professionals, you've got agents who are recruiting, and my son is texting me and telling me my microphone is messed up. So it looks like I might switch mics here in just 1 second. Oh, okay. So I don't sound like a Darth Vader. That's what he was telling me. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Noah. You just messed up my whole flow, man. I was like about to say something great. Oh, okay. Well, I'm not sure why. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm just going to keep going then, and then when I meet some of you guys live in person, you're going to be like, "Oh my God, this doesn't sound like you," because I'm not on my microphone. Uh, okay. So the difference though in LinkedIn is you're able to get in front of true professionals and go get not recruiters, go get producers. And that's what you want in this business. When you're attracting agents, you want to make sure that you're going and really going after producing agents, because if they're not producing, then why are you recruiting them? They're just not making any money. I'm not telling you avoid new agents. I'm just saying LinkedIn is a tool to help you really attract talented professional producing agents. I had a really good friend of mine, Tom Schreider, Big Al. I actually had him in Real Estate 101 2 weekends ago. And he told me this years ago. He said, Jonathan, if you have one leader in your organization, that's a good thing. If you have two leaders in your organization, that's a great thing. If you have three leaders in your organization, you're awesome. If you have more than three leaders, you probably miscounted. And the point behind that was leaders. It's important for you to find them and also find the people with the potential to be leaders and help develop them. And that was just his funny way to share that with me. And you have to mine people to find the diamonds. And there's a tool that can help you identify them, and it's LinkedIn. I mean, it has helped me to really get in dialogue with some great agents. People on Facebook are looking for social opportunities. They want to post pictures of what they ate for dinner last night or the big fish that they caught. That's what I do. I post pictures of the big fish that I catch on Facebook, on Instagram. People on LinkedIn, though, I never put those pictures on LinkedIn because they're like, what is this? They're on LinkedIn looking for opportunities, connections, building relationships. And most of the people on LinkedIn are open to opportunities. They make quicker decisions. They look for reasons why something will work. They're problem solvers. They're solution givers. They don't procrastinate and they don't make excuses. So I think LinkedIn is this is why it has become one of the best tools for me. And yes, so I think it was Sylvia, I clicked away from the chat, who asked a great question. How do you discern who you're allowed to or not talk to? So you can't really talk to a franchise owner. But I'm able to hopefully tell that from the LinkedIn profile if they're the owner or not of a Remax franchise or a Keller Williams franchise or a Coldwell Banker or Century 21, any franchise. You can't talk to the owner of the company. Because if you do, you can be violating a franchise agreement and interfering with the operation of a franchise. So if though you were and they said, I actually own, you're not going to get in trouble right away if you reached out and sent someone a message, especially the messages we're sending, because you're just connecting and you're fishing, you're throwing out the bait and you're waiting for the right ones. And they end up setting the appointments with you versus you setting the appointment with them. And if an owner reaches out to you, then you can have that conversation with them. There you go. Lori just asked that. So yes, if they reach out to you, you can have the conversation with them. And if you reached out to them and they said, I actually own a franchise, just say, oh, well, listen, I'm so sorry. And I hope that it is everything that you always wanted it to be. And I hope that you're thriving there. But the messages you're going to see me post in a minute, it doesn't matter who they are. And it's not interfering with the operation of a franchise. You're not even recruiting them. You're throwing some bait out there, and it's really subtle, and you're just waiting for them to just crush it, to nail it. That's what you're waiting for. So let's talk about this for a second. Your LinkedIn profile, it is your real estate. It's the first place that people will go to learn more about you. And it's either going to repel them away or attract them to you. So you need to set up your LinkedIn profile, and there are 13 parts to it. We're only going to talk about a handful of those parts of your profile, and they are. I'm trying to click this chat box away from. The first is the 13 parts are your backdrop, profile pictures, contact information, headline, profile description, articles and activities, experience, education, volunteer experience, skills and endorsements, recommendations, accomplishments, and interests. Now, we're going to break down the ones that you need to start working on today. And the first is your LinkedIn backdrop. Your LinkedIn backdrop is going to have your name. It's going to have a personal logo, and your logo should include your name in it. It needs to have a professional picture. It needs to have a background, and it needs to have a slogan. So you'll see mine right here. This is my actual LinkedIn backdrop. And it has all of these 5 items in it. You'll see my logo over on the left-hand side, and my logo is a real simple. It's a J and a D with my name, and it just says author, speaker, and coach underneath it. And then I have helping realtors get off the real estate roller coaster, and that is what I do. And then you'll see beneath that attracting talent, retaining talent, developing talent. And then you'll see that amazing headshot. That's when I wore a suit and tie every single day and didn't have a beard. And then you want to make sure that this backdrop looks great. There are people who do a good job at this. I'm not one of them. So I paid $12 and had somebody do it at Fiverr. And I'm sure some of you that are on this call can make one even way cooler than the one that I have. But Fiverr is where I got mine. If you go to fiverr.com for $12, you can have someone create. You just type in LinkedIn backdrop and you'll see all the people pop up. And then Julie said Canva is a great tool to make a cool backdrop if you know how to use that kind of stuff. My wife's really good at that. I'm like horrible at it, and I don't do a good job. So you want to make your a backdrop. Put some thought into it. Don't just copy what I use. I've seen tons of LinkedIn profiles lately that are it's my profile. It's the whole thing is my profile, the story and everything. And I don't mind you using any of the things that I have on there. Maybe use it as a template though, and make it yours. Like create it. Put some thought into this. So take a little bit of time over this next week and think about how you want your LinkedIn profile to look. The second thing on your profile is your profile picture. And this is, again, your chance to make a great first impression. You want to have a professional photo. You want it to be 400 by 400 pixels. Your headshot should be as professional as your backdrop. I just took a new headshot Saturday. So that I could change mine so it would look more like me, because I don't wear suits anymore. Contact information. On your contact information, you want to make sure you have the appropriate information in your LinkedIn profile. You have your profile URLs, which you can link them to Facebook, your websites, Instagram, your career site if you have a career site, landing pages if you have and use landing pages. This is where you put all your websites is in the profile URL. Then you have your phone number, email, if you use Twitter, your Twitter handle, and then your birth date. And the reason I put my birth date is because there's a specific message that we use, and you will discover people you don't even know on LinkedIn will send you a birthday message, and I respond to them a certain way. And then I also respond to people when it's their birthday, which we're about to get into the actual messages after we get through the profile. Your headline. So, all right, think about this for a second. We have 2 parts to our brain. There's the conscious mind and there's the subconscious mind. And the conscious is the logical and the subconscious is emotional. And the emotional mind rules over the logical mind. Like you probably have met with an agent and it made logical sense that they should join your brokerage. Like no brainer. They make way more money. You know, hey, you're on a 50-50 split. And if you come here, you're on an 80-20 split. You get a 30% raise. You never cap where you are. You're always on a 50-50 there. Over here, you're going to cap at X amount of dollars and then be at 100%. You have no way to be in business over here. Over here, you've got 5 other ways you can earn income. Like it makes logical sense. Yet if you don't connect with them emotionally, it doesn't matter. And so what you have to figure out is how do I connect with someone emotionally so they can then begin to use logic to justify making the decision. And so when you're thinking about your headline, you want to understand how to reach out to your prospects and speak to them in a way to connect emotionally, even if it's through your LinkedIn profile. And you also have to understand that we think in pictures, not in words. and a picture can transfer information into the brain faster than you speaking words. There's a really good book I'm reading right now called 7 Stories Every Salesperson Must Tell. Great book. I think everyone should order it because this book talks about how to speak in stories and how to connect in stories and how to sell in stories. And if you ever listen to me or you're talking to me or I'm trying to share something with you, I'm usually talking in stories. And that's because it connects with people. So words are going to speak to the conscious mind, pictures are going to speak to the subconscious mind. And we want to paint these emotional scenes in our prospects' heads so that our message has a chance of getting through because they're being bombarded every day, and we want we want to get into their head. So someone's saying, I noticed that you don't have your EXP logo in your backdrop. Why is that? I used to, and I took it out because I was doing LinkedIn all wrong. There's a guy, Dale Morrow, and he wrote this book on LinkedIn for recruiting people in network marketing. And he's friends with Tom Schreider, and Tom connected me with him, and we had a conversation. And from that, he was like, look, you just want to be the expert, period. Like, you don't want someone to come to your LinkedIn profile and whatever their preconceived notions are about your company, that they run with that you don't even have the opportunity to have a conversation with them. So let them get to know you. And when they get to know you, they won't care what company you're at because they want to do business with you. And that's the reason why I don't have that logo on my LinkedIn site. So I hope that makes sense. And I think you'll see in just a minute when we get to the story. Sorry, I didn't mean to clear my throat right into the microphone. Do I recommend premium LinkedIn? Well, all you have to be is one. All right, so I'm going to say this, and I'm not going to say this with authority. I think in the real estate law in Louisiana is we have to be one click away. So if someone were to click and schedule an appointment with me through LinkedIn, they're going to clearly see I'm with EXP. If they click on my real estate site, like my career site, they're going to see that I'm in at EXP. In Louisiana, we have what's called the one-click rule. So I don't know your state rules. And the one-click rule is that as long as we're one click away, then we're okay. So I'm okay. Check your own rules out. I'm not telling you don't put the EXP logo on or not. I'm telling you why I don't have it on, and my purpose in my LinkedIn site is not to sell real estate. My purpose in LinkedIn is to solely get in dialogue with realtors. That's it. It's the only reason I use LinkedIn. So we want to paint this headline and this picture about how you're going to benefit the prospect and how them being in your world is going to be a good thing, and that you can help them accomplish what they desire. So you'll see my headline. It says, get off the real estate roller coaster, grow your business, expand your market, and make more money in real estate. That's mine. You'll see this. You'll see that there've been a lot of, if you scroll through LinkedIn profiles of agents at our brokerage, you'll see the same one, but it's my headline. Again, if you want to use it, you can, but I would just encourage you, put some thought into what you do. So I want them to picture that, God, I hate being on this real estate roller coaster. I hate living transaction to transaction. I love to grow my business. I want to expand my market. I definitely want to make more money in real estate. That's what I want them to think in their head when they see that. So that's my headline. And it paints this picture of agents getting off this up and down world of living transaction to transaction, and it helps them see this picture of growth and expansion and making money. Then you move into your profile description. So in your profile description, we're going to paint this picture to tell a story, and we're going to use the old school feel, felt, found to do it. And I'm sure you guys are familiar with that. I understand how you feel. Other people felt the same way. What I found out was this. Well, we're going to kind of use that in a way in our profile description to do it. So let me pull up my actual profile, and then I'll go back into some of the questions that are popping up. So here's my profile, and you'll see there's. Oh wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Now there's my profile, and I'm going to zoom it up a little bit. So you'll see my backdrop there with my name, my logo, my slogan, and then you'll see my profile photo, and then you'll see my headline. And now we're going to shift into my actual profile story with the Phil Felt found. So this is my profile. Let me tell you about, and I want you to think again about painting this emotional picture. Let me tell you about Scott. He'd been in the real estate business his entire life, was drowning in debt, owned his own brokerage, and was ready to break free. Now he has more money than month, lives the lifestyle realtors dream about, and has the time and money freedom to live life on his own terms. He got off the real estate roller coaster. So much of my life was like Scott's. I owned my own independent brokerage with over 120 realtors, was deep in debt, worked around the clock, never saw my family, and it wasn't working. I was broker than my agents. My overhead was crazy high. My agents always wanted higher commission splits because they were always broke. I always had to tell my family no. I had so many sleepless nights. I was stressed to the max, and because my bucket list was more expensive than my income, I had to empty my bucket. Can you relate? When I was close to giving up on the real estate industry altogether, a colleague introduced me to the idea of residual income in real estate. I will never forget that day. It was the day that everything changed for me. I listened to the presentation. Tracy hit all the hot buttons for me. The way to finally be free from the real estate roller coaster. The way to break free from the worry and stress of living transaction to transaction. I found out how to increase my income fast and by removing the ceiling on my potential. I saw what passive income in real estate could do for my family and how it could give me my time back. I no longer had to say no to my family. I know many of you have walked in Scott and my shoes. We know the struggles, we know the successes. Now I want to help you. I want to help you create the freedom from real estate interfering with your life. I want to help you with the freedom to spend money without the fear of cost. I want to help you remove the shackles placed on your time. Get free in RE. And then there's a link that they can click on to book a virtual coffee shop. And if they click on this link, it's going to open up a window. Well, it didn't open the link, but I have to go back and fix that. I'm glad I clicked it. It will open up. It normally opens up to my calendar. Oh, maybe I have to click view. Yep, that's what I have to do. And it's going to open up for them to pick a time to meet with me with the calendar app, which we talked about last week. All right, so that's my profile story. Again, I've seen some profiles lately that they just copied and pasted this story. I would encourage you not to do that because it's not your story. I'd make your own story, not make your own story up. I'd put your own story. Let me read some of the questions real quick in the chat. So I don't care if you're using my wording at all. I just would maybe tweak some of it so that it makes sense when someone's talking to you, that it's your story. Do I ever continue following up? Sure, I continue with an agent who was not interested in passive income. I would just say, well, I mean, that's just lagniappe. Like if you got extra money in the mail, would you be excited about it, or would you go, I don't want this extra money, I'm sending it back? And they're going to go, well, I would just keep it. It's the same thing. So I just go, okay, well, yeah, that's all that the passive income side is. So if you're not focused on it, that's fantastic. We still have all these tools and resources to help you increase your production and make more money. So yeah, thank you for the typo, Holly. I'll fix that. I've always been of the thought if you can't spell something more than one way, you're just not creative. Um, let's see. Trying to see if there's any other questions I'm missing real quick. So that is my the actual profile story. So let me shift gears. And someone asked about premium, and if you're a premium member, then you can see things like I can click right here on who viewed my profile, and I can actually see the agents that are looking at my profile. And then I can go see their profile if I want to. I can send them a message. Hey, I noticed you've been on. There's a guy who I've been sending multiple messages to. He stopped responding, but then I noticed the last 2 months he's been all over my LinkedIn profile. So I just sent him a message and said, "Hey, I noticed you've been on my LinkedIn profile numerous times. I just want to see if there's anything I could do to help you." And he responded back and was like, "No, I was just checking some stuff out." I said, "Okay, well, check out all you want." Um, so premium just depends. I use it because I can build a list in like in certain cities that I'm going into, and I can save them, and I can build lists of agents, and that's really why I use it. I use the Recruiter Lite version, and I think if you're going to be on here every day, it's great to use, and you can kind of utilize it like a CRM. Plus, not a CRM, but a database. And plus, I can see who's snooping around on my profile. So let's shift into the next part of this. Let me pull back up the manual. I give you my whole profile in the manuscript, so you can see it there and use it kind of as a template. The next part of our profile is articles and activities. And articles and activities are going to let you shine through as the expert. This is probably the one area that I try to do and I'm not as consistent as I should be. There are two things that go in articles and activities: original articles and original videos. These are articles that you've written or videos that you have made. It's not where you post links to other videos or, you know, the model explain video or a YouTube video that you found that you thought was cool. It's articles and videos done by you. Uh, the goal that I try to go with, and I don't hit this. I'm like I try to post 2 articles a week, no more than 500 words, and post a couple of videos a week. And you want to make your articles and videos value filled and industry specific. So these are the main areas of your profile that you want to start working on today. And you'll see on mine, I'm going to go back and share my profile. So we move into the article section, and I can go in here and let's see all the articles. And here's an article that I did on creating a one-page business plan. This just kind of gives you an idea of some of the articles. So I always put a photo at the top that kind of goes in line with the article. Then you have your headline, creating your one-page business plan. And then you have the actual article where you share, and then this is a download that they can click on and download a template to create their one-page business plan. And then this shows me on here that there were 20 likes, 2 comments, 1 share, and 263 views for that article. So I can kind of see a little bit of analytics behind it, but I really don't care too much about that. But I post these articles. So as I write an article, I'll take it and then I'll post it in other places. I'll email it out to people as well. And I kind of look and see what I think is going to be I try to stay with topics that I know that help realtors get off the real estate roller coaster, grow their business, expand their market, and make more money. Like those are the types of articles that I'm trying to write on LinkedIn. Let me switch shares one more time. So I want you to begin today to start tweaking your LinkedIn, because most of our LinkedIn sites read like a resume for a job, and nobody cares about that. It's like boring. And that's how mine used to be until I met Dale, and I was like, man, I'm really doing this all wrong. And then when I started sending the messages I'm about to show you, I'm telling you, it works like magic. I don't know what it is. It's crazy. So let's talk for a second. I gave you the 5 core fundamentals. You really want to master those as you start navigating through this process on LinkedIn. I'm not going to go through that right now. I'm going to skip through the 5 core fundamentals because you can go read this part. It doesn't have anything to do with LinkedIn. It is an actual article I wrote on LinkedIn about recruiting, but I talked about this last week with you guys. Okay, so now let's move into how do I find people on LinkedIn, and then how do I connect with them, and what do I say? Starting conversations with talented realtors who are open to opportunity is really hard to do unless you know where to find them, and it's so easy on LinkedIn to find them, and that's the first step. And the second step is to connect with them. And so we're going to go find realtors. It's really simple. We're going to invite them to connect with us. We're going to use a series of pre-written messages for connecting with them. And I want you to remember, LinkedIn's more about professionalism. It's about building connections for business purposes. And so our conversations are going to center around building business relationships. I want you to use something like Evernote. It doesn't have to be Evernote. It's what I use. But it could be Google Docs. It could be Apple Notes. I don't care. Somewhere, though, where you can have the app on your phone as well as your computer, because that's where we're going to put all of these messages so that you can just copy and paste them, because every day you're going to do a lot of copying and pasting. You want to go to appointlet.com or Calendly or whatever scheduling tool if you haven't already set yours up. I know many of you already set one up. Go set up an account. Most of them are free to set up and use, and it connects to your calendar so that people can schedule a call with you on their own, and you kind of set the parameters of when you're available. And if your calendar is empty, it's going to allow them to schedule the time with you. Here's the part I'm going to tell you. If you're not putting things on your calendar, you're just like writing them down and remembering them, someone else is going to schedule a call with you, and you're going to double book yourself and not even know it. And you're going to go, oh man, I do it all. I'm speaking from experience. So I have to make myself put stuff in my calendar because I use appointlet.com. We're going to create several free gifts. This could be a special report, a series of scripts. That's why I gave you the ebook right now, and the 3 must-have scripts and the top 15 mistakes new agents make, or you could just name it the top 15 mistakes agents make, and use those until you create your own. That's okay, but you're going to create these free gifts that you're going to be giving away. So here's the first step to finding agents on LinkedIn. You're going to do a couple of things, and I'll give you screenshots of it, and I'm going to go in and show you in just a second. You click on the search engine in LinkedIn. So when you're in LinkedIn, you'll see this box by the red arrow. It says search. when you click on it, it's going to open up, and you're going to have these options, and you're going to select the one that says people. I'm trying to make this bigger, but it's not letting me. You're going to select the one that says people. And then after you select people, you're going to go over here to the right, and you're going to click the button that says all filters. All filters. And again, I'm in the manuscript that you guys have. And if you haven't downloaded it, it's in the file section in our Facebook group. And that's all I'm reading from. So this is in there for you, the screenshots and everything. And once I click on all filters, I need to go over here to the left-hand side where it says connections right here. And I need to choose second, because I don't want people who are first. If they're first, then it's going to show people I'm already connected with. And then I can choose current companies if I want to, and I can even add some, so I could type in specific companies who I want to pull realtors from, or I could leave it blank and I could uncheck these. And then I'm going to select the industry, real estate. And if I scroll down, which I'll show you in just a second, I'll go live on here. I'm going to type the location, so I can pick more than one location. But if I know I'm going into a market, like if I know I'm going to be in Dallas at an event, I will pull up agents who are my second connection, who are in the real estate industry, who have the title realtor, who are in Dallas, Texas. And then I'll send them, start invites to connect, and start sending them messages, which I'm going to go over the messages here in just a second. Once I do that, and there's one more tab you can't see in the screenshot that says title, and you can type in realtor, and then it's going to pull up this list of agents that you see right here. So let me just show you. We'll do it together real quick. And this is not a premium feature. This is just straight up LinkedIn. All right, so I've got to move some stuff around on my screen. So I'm going to click in this search bar up at the top. I'm going to search for people. I'm going to go over to the right where it says all filters, and I'm going to click that. And then I'm going to check second. And I'm going to type in New Orleans, greater New Orleans area. And then I'm going to scroll down here. I'm going to select real estate for the ADA industry, real estate. And I'm going to do profile English. And I'm going to keep scrolling down and see where it says first name, last name, title. I'm just going to type in realtor. And then I'm going to click that blue apply button. And now it's going to show me realtors in the greater New Orleans area. And so what I do every day, I'm going to open up Evernote. This is where my messages are. I'm going to get into the messages in just one second, but I'm just going to do this real quick so you can see. This is not rocket science. It's not hard stuff. So I have my LinkedIn messages, and you'll see one of them says invite to connect. I came across your profile. It's really simple. It says, I came across your profile. I see that you're a realtor. I thought it'd be good to connect. I'm a realtor down here in Baton Rouge and would love to connect. All right, so I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to click on connect with Judith. And it's going to say they're more likely to accept an invitation if it has a personal note. So I click add note and then I just add the note. That's it. Send invitation. And so I'll do this. And I have a goal to do this 40 times a day. And I'm pasting my message. That's all I'm doing. I'm not connecting with any agents in my current brokerage. So this one doesn't tell me what brokerage, so I need to click on her profile to try to see if I can tell. And here she is, Ingalls and Volkers. So I'm going to click on connect, add note, paste my note. And so I'm just going to go through, and every single day, this is going to be part of my lead generation, all right? And then all I do is wait for the people to connect with me. And when they connect with me, once they've connected with me, I then have another message that I send to them. So I can go through here and I can see the people that accepted my connection, and I want to look for people who here's one at Sotheby's. I can never say that. Sotheby's. I'm horrible at saying that. So here's my message. You'll see it. I copied and pasted it, and then he accepted my connection. So I'm going to go back in here to LinkedIn. To Evernote, and I'm going to go to thank you for connecting, and I'm going to copy this message. I'm going to go over here to LinkedIn and paste, and I'm going to take out first name. And put his. All right, so we're going to talk about this message right now. And this is the number one message I send that has people set appointments with me, not me set appointments with them. So let me pull back up the manual. We're going to talk about the 5 parts that have to be in here. So that's all that I do on LinkedIn, like every day. I have this whole series of messages. I'll go into every single one of them in just a second. So you find people to connect with, you send them the invitation to connect, and you can type up to 300 characters in an invitation to connect on LinkedIn, or you could just use the messages I've already created and I've already given them to you. So the first message is, I came across your LinkedIn profile. See, you're a realtor. I thought it'd be good to connect. I'm a realtor down here in your city and would love to connect with you. Thanks, Jonathan. Or you could use a shorter, sweet one. I use message number 1 all the time, but this one I used to use, and it works too. I see you in real estate. I'd love to connect. Just really short. All you're trying to do is connect with them. Then when they accept your connection, you want to copy and paste the message that you're sending to them. I've got this series of messages that we're going to be using. So after they connect with us, we have to then begin to build this relationship. I'm going to celebrate with people. I'm going to thank people. I'm going to celebrate their birthdays, their work anniversaries, new positions. I'm going to thank people for recognizing my birthday and my work anniversary. And so what you want to go back into whatever note tool you're using and create 10 pre-written messages. I give you most of these. Thank you for connecting, new work anniversary, thank you message from when they thank you for when they don't thank you, when they congratulate you for your work anniversary, when they thank you for a new position. Maybe you put on there that you became a certified coach or a CRS, you got a certain designation and they congratulate you on that. There's a message you're going to send back for that. A birthday message, a thank you for when they wish you a happy birthday, and then endorsing your skills, and then thanking them for endorsing your skills, and then a welcome email message for a new lead. There are 5 parts to the message And it doesn't really matter so much the message as long as you have all five parts in this. And it's first name, their first name, the actual message itself, the gift, schedule a time to talk, and your signature. That's it. Those are the five parts. They have to be in. So this sample message that you see is the actual message you just saw me send to an agent. Is thank you for connecting. So every agent that accepts my invitation to connect, I send this message. Thank you for connecting. I do appreciate it. I see you're also in real estate. I'm excited for you. Being a realtor, you're in an elite group of business professionals. As a thank you gift for connecting, I wanted to give you a complimentary copy of my 3 must have scripts every agent needs to master. If you're like me, you want to find the best prospects for your business and get them to become clients. This gift will turn you into a prospecting machine. Here's the link. Enjoy. I'd love to connect with you and find out more about what's working for you and what isn't working in your market. If you're open to connect over a virtual coffee session, let me know. I'd be happy to chat and share some strategies that are helping agents dramatically increase their production, helping them make more money. You can book a time using my online scheduling tool. Click this link and select phone call from the options. Here's the link. And then you see my signature file. Talk soon, Jonathan, my phone number, my website. That is my welcome message. I have probably 3 people a week that will click that link and schedule a time to talk. And they'll send me a message back and they'll thank me for sending them the scripts. And sometimes it's the book. If it's their birthday, I'm going to show you the birthday message in just a second. I give them a copy of my book, The Mega Agent Mindset. It could be the 15 mistakes agents make and how to avoid them. It could be, it doesn't matter what it is. It's just you want to come up with several free gifts, tools, resources, special report that you can give to them, and it sets you apart as the expert. And then they set a time. So I was sitting down with my wife, and I'm horrible at looking at my calendar, and we're sitting on the couch, and my watch goes off, and it says you have an appointment in 10 minutes with Christopher Adams. I said, I don't know who Christopher Adams is. Who's Christopher Adams? And I opened my phone and opened my calendar, and he had set the appointment, and it had his phone number. And so I called him and I said, "Hey, Christopher, this is Jonathan. We have an appointment. How can I help you?"
Like, do we have all this?
And he said, "Jonathan, I am an agent down here in this city. I have my own brokerage. I'm considering doing something like you did. And I've been watching you on LinkedIn and connected and got your message. So I thought, heck, I'll set a time to talk with Jonathan." And we had a fantastic conversation, and he's got 20 agents. And turns out my son had been talking to him, and I said, "Man, go out and talk to him. Keep in dialogue." And so it's that happens all the time. I just had a Remax agent. She's been a Remax for 14 years. She's scheduled an appointment to meet with me through this message that you see right here, the one, thank you for connecting. I sent her a connection. She accepted. I sent her the thank you for connecting. She said, "Thank you for the scripts." And then she said, "By the way, I just scheduled a time to talk with you. I'm looking forward to chatting." She's been a Remax agent for 14 years. I don't have specific. I do use lead pages, but I use it for all kind of things, for classes, events, and then I'm building a landing page right now that's specific to recruiting. But I mostly use my career page for that. How do you offer free gifts like this when you're new and don't have experience? Just use mine if you want to, and put your name on them, except for the book. But you're more than welcome to take the book and use it as a free gift, or the 3 must-have scripts and use it as a free gift, or the reasons mistakes agents make and use it as a free gift. It could be, you could go and find something that you can recreate, not copy, recreate to make a special report. have I ever used IFTTT to automatically send any of those? I don't know what that is, Julie, so no, I haven't. It's probably a way to do it easier than I'm copying and pasting. Yes, it'll pull up EXP agents, and that's why you want to go through and look. Or unless you just search for specific companies, and you can do that in that when you pull up the people section, you can only put in the certain companies that you want to talk to. Is it only after they set the appointment with you that you put them into Contactually and start tracking them? Yes, I'm not putting them in Contactually because I mean, that's a whole lot of people that I'm going through every single day and sending that message. And then I'm just kind of fostering the relationship. So when I'm in LinkedIn, it's going to give me, let me switch shares again real quick. So if I click on this notification tab up here on the right next to my picture, I'm going to scroll through and it's going to say, so here's Tucker, and I can say thanks, and so I'll say thanks, but I'm going to go through and try to find one who is, see if there's see who's celebrating birthdays. So I click on see who's celebrating, and here they are, and so I would go through and this, see if I can find. All right, so let's send him a happy birthday message. Richard.
Thank you.
Birthday. I'm going to block that out. I'm going to go.
I like how this is completely fixed into your daily schedule, and your goal is 40 new invitations a day, or 40 messages. Just trying to get a framework here. And how much time? What's your time block? How much time are you spending on?
We talked about it just a minute ago. So I'm sending him this message. The great thing about getting older is you don't have to lose all the other ages you've been. I love birthdays and I love celebrating birthdays. In celebration of your birthday, I want to give you a gift. Here's a link to download the PDF version of my book that's available on Amazon, The Mega Agent Mindset. Download your free version here. Again, I hope you have a happy birthday. We belong in a unique industry. It's important for us to communicate with each other about our industry. I'd like to know more about what's going on for you and your business. Let's swap ideas, set up a virtual coffee session here so we can chat. Here's a link to my online scheduling tool, and then there's my signature file. So all I'm gonna do is I'm sending. All right. So here's all I'm doing in a nutshell. I am going on LinkedIn. I'm clicking in the search bar, and I'm setting my search parameters to find realtors in the cities that I'm looking to attract agents in. I'm then clicking the connect button with all of them that are not in my brokerage. And I'm copying the personal message that just says, I'd like to connect with you. When they accept my connection, I then copy and paste the message that says, thank you for accepting my connection. And it has those 5 parts. So I'm fishing now. The first message doesn't say anything except I'd love to connect. We're both in real estate. The second one says, thank you for accepting my connection. As a free gift, here are the 3 must-have scripts that every agent needs. You'll be a prospecting machine, blah, 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 blah. And then comes the call to set an appointment. So it just says, I think as in the same industry, we should chat, learn what's working, what's not working. Here's a link to my scheduling tool to schedule a time for us to talk. And then my signature file. And then I'm waiting for the people to click on that link and schedule a time to talk with me. And they schedule the time, and then I just simply call them and talk to them. If they don't do that, then every day I'm also going in after I send my messages. I'm going in and clicking on the notification bell, and I'm going to scroll through and I'm going to see who's endorsed me. I'm going to say thank you to them. Who's had a move, I'm going to say congratulations to them, and I have a message. So I just go open my message, and I'm in notification messages. These are all the messages I would send. Hey, someone's not muted. So I'm just copying and pasting these messages. That's all that I'm doing, and I'm doing it on a daily basis. And so I'm clicking, whether it be clicking on the notifications and copying and pasting those messages, or if they. So let's do this one. I'll go back into LinkedIn. I'm going to scroll up. Now, Tucker is here on this call, so I'm just going to go here and go. So this message says, thank you for endorsing me. I truly appreciate it. I want to give you a gift as a thank you. Here's a link to download the PDF version of my book. It's available on Amazon. Same thing you just read. Again, thank you for the time to endorse me. I'm grateful. And then you see my call to action to set an appointment, and then my signature file, and then I click send. And so I wouldn't normally send that message to someone in my own brokerage, but I love Tucker. He's a great guy, so I'm going to send it to him. And I'm just going to scroll through these notifications, and I'm going to celebrate their birthdays. I'm going to, if they made a career change, if they endorsed me, I'm going to send the appropriate message, and I'm just waiting. That's all I'm doing. I'm just kind of fishing. It's getting me in dialogue with them. And then I also use LinkedIn if I know, like I shared earlier, that I'm going into a specific market, like Dallas or Alabama, anywhere where I'm going to do a speaking engagement. Then I'll pull up those agents, and I'll also I will look them up, and I will send them a message, and I'll let them know I'm coming. Hey, I'm coming into your market, teaching a class. I'd love to connect with you while I'm there. And so that's the other way. But the main thing I'm doing on LinkedIn that gets me in dialogue with most people is just these messages that I'm copying and pasting. And all of those messages that I send are in the manuscript for you, and you can copy and paste them. The only thing you're going to want to change are the links to the items. I think you're probably going to want to take the scripts and maybe put your own name or logo at the top of it, that kind of thing. But I give you the anniversary messages, the when they tell me, happy anniversary, or they tell me happy birthday. So here's the birthday message. And then if they tell me happy birthday, I have the message that I send to them that just says, thank you for wishing me a happy birthday. And that's all that I'm doing on LinkedIn. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pause. I'm going to open up for questions, and then we'll wrap up today. And then next week, again, just as a reminder, we will not meet next week for Memorial Day. We will meet the following week, and I know there are a handful of you guys that are going to be at Shareholder Summit, so we'll figure out, for those of you that aren't here, we'll figure out a solution. We'll maybe meet the week after that for those that aren't able to meet on June. I think it's June 3rd is the first is the Monday after next week. So what I'd like to do is just answer any questions that you have specific to LinkedIn. Just tell you, it sounds simple, but it is the way I get in dialogue with so many agents. Go ahead, Julie. You look like you got a question. Yep. No, I try to send maybe 30 minutes. Maybe 30 minutes on LinkedIn at the and I'm doing it like there are some days. So if I'm traveling or there've been some days I haven't done 40, and there's been a couple days I hadn't done any because I was teaching a class and doing something else. But that's my goal. I try to go in every day and connect with 30 or 40 people on LinkedIn. Out of those 3 appointments a week. So that's great. That's a great question. I'll answer that. I really began this approach on LinkedIn probably really just a few months ago. I was doing LinkedIn all wrong, and that's why I put it in this course, because I was using LinkedIn like I was trying to connect with agents, and I had the whole, my EXP thing, and every other person had the same profile that I had, and which there's nothing wrong with it. I want to try to find this book real quick. Well, I don't see it back there, but it's called it's called Del Moro's the author. Let me give you the appropriate name. I think it's called Recruiting. It's called LinkedIn for Network Marketing. That's the name of the book. I'm going to post the link here in the chat box for you. And it doesn't matter that you're not in network marketing. Take the concepts, and if you read the book, you'll realize that that's all I did. I took his concepts, and I actually had a conversation with him as well about this, and told him what I was doing. There's the link to the book, right? Oh, I sent it accidentally as a private message. Let me send it to everybody. There it is. And so I redid everything. I redid my profile, and I took his approach with the messages. I changed the messages up so that it made sense in the real estate world. I created the free gifts to give away. And I am in dialogue right now. I would tell you, I've been doing this for a few months. This is the process part. I've not brought on anyone yet from LinkedIn. I've gotten in dialogue with more people than any other tool I've used to get in dialogue with. And I have 2 people who are right on the verge of onboarding with me who are great agents. And one of them is a certified John Maxwell coach. And this guy has been all in our virtual campus. For those of you not at EXP, I'm at EXP. I give out passes for people to come into classes. I gave him a 2-week pass, and his mind was blown. And he's just like, man, this is crazy. And he's been in the last couple of weeks, he's been in and out, and he's asked for another guest pass to extend it a little bit so he could come in. And I'm almost like I can tell when an agent's at the bridge and he's at the bridge ready to cross over. So I would say in the next 30 days, I'll have 2 to 3 agents who I've onboarded from LinkedIn, but it's taken me a good several months for that to happen, if that makes sense. And that's the entire process of me changing my profile, getting in dialogue with people. But every week, these people set appointments, and then I just have to put them in my follow-up system to follow up with them. And that's where you got to get hung up in caught up in really buying into it's a process and not an event where you go, man, I've tried this for 2 months and I haven't recruited. You're probably not going to start this tomorrow and recruit someone next week. You'll start it tomorrow.
The
and you'll
comment,
probably have an appointment
before
next week
real
with someone,
estate, I was
be
a
in dialogue
clinical
with someone next
therapist.
week. But then you're starting to dance. And
so when you were talking about amateur versus professional and meeting the emotional need, that's what kind of stood out to me as thinking about this visual that we were given as we're learning about clinical therapy and this teeter-totter. And so, you know, on one end is this other individual and you're standing on the other end,
no,
and
a
lot of amateurs will say, come on over here, it's nicer over here, come to this side of the teeter-totter. But that's scary. So the point is to go and meet them where they're at and, you know, address their needs. And so I think thinking of it that way, you know, going to their end and looking at validating their situation, then walking them to the other side. That's that visual kind of ring true for that.
Lead generation, I'll direct them to
and then I wanted to ask you a little bit more, your articles and videos that you're posting on LinkedIn. Where else do you share those articles? And then the videos, where are you? I know you're creating your own, but it like, is it YouTube that you're taking them and putting them on there? I don't know how that process works.
And they just keep coming back to a class and back to a class and back to another class, and they're not getting it at their brokerage. So that just becomes a part of my process. Hope that makes sense. I'm finding them through LinkedIn and then all the other resources that I shared with you guys last week. But I do a lot of events, and I do invite agents to my events, and I also invite them to other classes and events that are happening as well. What was working before LinkedIn? Sure, I still use Facebook. I use Facebook from a standpoint of, though, really promoting classes or just fishing, putting little things out. Like I'll put the special report out that says, you'll see it today. If you go on my Facebook right now, you'll see a post that I made today to get the top 15 mistakes new agents make so that you can avoid them. And then it gives them a tool that I have them text in to get it, because if I just post it on Facebook, I don't have any way to capture the people that get it. Does that make sense? But if I have an image that I post that says, I'll pull up the image. I'll show you what it looks like. Give me 1 second.
On Facebook, have you been able to figure, I know there's some kind of program where you're able to screen share at the same time you're doing Facebook Live. Do you know what that is? On Facebook.
So I posted this today in multiple groups on Facebook, along with a message in the body of the post. Do you guys see it? Did it pop up? So it just says, text mistakes to 31996 to get my list of top 15 mistakes new agents make. And then in the actual post, I wrote something to the effect of, get my list of top mistakes new agents make so that you can avoid them and achieve success. Something along those lines is what it said. And then this was the photo underneath the post. That's how I use Facebook. And then you're just kind of waiting for the people to opt in. So since last night, I have had, I'll tell you the exact number. Let me refresh it. 188 agents opt in to get that 15 mistakes that agents make. Now, I will tell you 150 of them were from Real Estate 101 last night. And then probably a handful are from you guys, but then there's probably 15 or 20 of them that came through from Facebook, from me posting that link on Facebook. So that's how I utilize Facebook. And then before that, it was actually phone calls. I still used LinkedIn. I did the same thing in finding people, but I just picked up the phone and called them. But now I'm using the messages, and I'm having a much better rate, and I'm having a much better, them setting the appointment is a much better conversation than me blowing through the phones. The name of the app used for scheduling is the one that I use is called Appointlet. There's several of them. I think Noah uses one called Calendly. And I know, I don't know which one Julie's using. I know she set one up. And if you're in here using something different and it's working, post it, share it on the Facebook group as well. But there's multiple ones. But I use Appointlet, and I've used it for years. My text campaign, I'll tell you, I love this because they opt in to get that. And what's so cool is I can create a drip campaign. I'm going to post the link here in just 1 second. I can create a drip campaign of text messages. I can broadcast a message to everybody in that group. So every class I'm at, I'm always sharing a text word. So here is, I just posted a link to the text tool, and that link gives you a free trial to try it out. But so I use, it's called Slick Text is the name of it. But for example, I'm looking right now in scripts. I have 345 agents in my scripts text word group. And if I go to an event, I'll use the 3 must-have scripts, the same gift I give away on LinkedIn. And I'll say, hey guys, before we start, I want to give you a script, 3 scripts that really can help you. You can use them in all kind of different scenarios. And I share the scripts, and I have it up on the screen. And I say, don't worry about writing this down. If you want to get the script, pull out your phone right now and just text the word scripts to 31996, and it's going to send you these 3 must-have scripts right away. I'll tell you how I'm using it another way. I'm doing next month, I'm doing a Mega Agent Mastermind panel via a Zoom webinar, and I'm going to have 3 panelists plus myself, so there's 4 of us. It's going to be live on Facebook. And 1 is an agent at my brokerage, and the other 2 are agents at other brokerages, and they're all great agents. And I've asked the 3 of them to give me their top 2 scripts that they use. So when we do the panel, and I'm asking them the questions, and we've got all these people watching on Facebook, I'm going to be able to say, listen, I've asked these agents to give me their top 2 scripts that they use. So here's one agent who's doing $50 million a year. Here's one agent doing $18 million a year. Here's an agent doing $10 million a year. So we kind of cover the gaps. And they've each given me their top 2 scripts before we did this mastermind. If you want those scripts, I want you to pull out your phone right now and text, and I'm going to give them another keyword, and they're going to type it in and text to the number, and it's going to send them the top agents for scripts that they shared with me. So but what it does for me is I now capture their cell phone number, and I can communicate with them and send messages in the future. But you can't overuse that, because if you overuse that, they'll opt out of your campaign. So hope that makes sense. Any other questions or comments regarding what we've talked about today? Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can upload a video, or you can upload a link to from YouTube or Vimeo, whatever you use to host your videos. And that's probably been the area I've been lacking in the most is consistently posting videos. I do lots of live streams. That's how I use Facebook. I use lots of live streams on Facebook. I know Julie does a lot of live streams on Facebook. Noah does a lot of interviews on Facebook, and so that's the way I'm my articles. I'm write my own articles, but it's not hard to do. Like, you can go to Inman or go to Realtor, NAR, and go download the profile for Realtors, and it's just a report that gives you a lot of statistical and analytical data about what's happening in the real estate market. Look on Inman and see what's happening in the industry, and then just write about it. Like, don't copy what other people write. Just write about what's happening. And hey, I read this article the other day, and it really got me thinking about this. And you're only writing about 500 words, so it's not hard to come up with that content. And then when you do a video, just make it as authentic as you can. It doesn't have to be fancy, and it's just you know who you are. That's how I do my videos. Well, I use Zoom. What we're on right now, Zoom Webinar allows you to do that, and then correct, yeah, on Facebook, yep. And when you do a live, there's several platforms that will let you do that. But even when you go in and set up a live stream on Facebook, it'll ask you, do you want to do video or do you want to screen share? And you can select screen share and do it. But I use Zoom Webinar. You're welcome. Any other questions? So what I want you to do is I'll have this recording up today. I'll post it in the group. But I want you to take the manual and go to the LinkedIn section, and I just want you to follow those steps that are in the very first part of the LinkedIn chapter on your profile, and begin to think through what your story is. And remember that the emotional side is what's going to connect with them, so that they want to learn more about who you are, and they want to connect with you, and they want to click that link to schedule an appointment, because you're coming across as the expert who can help them. And you guys have a great week. Have a happy Memorial Day, safe Memorial Day weekend. And I'll see you guys on Monday, June the 3rd at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. You guys have a great day.